After we teach the lift off, now we're going to teach it from the RDL position, which is the most position when you get a young athlete. Young athletes are going to, they're going to round off their back, and they're going to abduct their shoulder blades and be right here because they got a weak glute ham chain all the way through the back. So the way we strengthen that is by RDLs, okay? First, let's talk about the positioning of a hang clean or a power clean. You can get it in a low bar, a mid, or a high bar stance when you're teaching athletes. And what we're going to teach right here with AJ is a high bar. So go ahead and lift it off just like we were about to do a deadlift. Bring it all the way up to mid thighs and straighten out. Just stand up with it. Okay. So the first thing, we'll get him in this position, and then what he wants to do is just push his butt back and allow the bar just to drop, just a tad bit. Okay, still want to bend your knees. Go ahead and bend your knees. There we go. That's a little bit better. And back up. Okay, stand all the way back. Now, push your butt back, bend your knees. Right there. Okay. Okay, and back up. All right. Now, this time I want you to do this. Keep the bar right where it's at, and then you're going to push your butt back and allow for a little space right there. I'll tell you when to stop. Don't push the weight out. Just keep the weight hanging. Now just push your butt back. Okay? Good. Still bend your knees. All right, good. This is what we call, he's got a little bit of shoulder shrug. He's a 9th grader. He's a big 9th grader and very muscular, but this part right here on young athletes are always very weak. So this is what we call a mid-thigh or a mid-power clean. Go ahead and set it down. If we hold him in that position, he's going to start shaking, and his old back's going to start burning, and his hamstrings are going to start burning. So getting them in that position as much as we can is very important for young athletes, and that's where we start off of. Now let's go to a low bar technique, which is a more advanced technique for athletes. What we're going to do, the low bar is just below the kneecaps. So he's going to keep a flat back. You're going to stand up with it all the way, AJ, and then you're going to push your butt back and get in a nice, good flat back position with the bar just below the kneecaps. The reason why we do this is it creates more flexion of the hip, and with all sports, flexion of the hip is very important, and this is why we teach cleans and snatches and jerks, is because they have to learn to move things at a high velocity. So let's go to a low bar technique. Go ahead and stand up all the way with it. Good flat back. Now, same thing, push your butt back and drop the weight. All right, good. Bar wants to be right, that's good right there, okay? He wants to retract his shoulder blades a little bit. He's already shaking. That's a good position. You feel it in your hamstrings right there, lower back, okay? That's the position that he has to be with, and we'll hold him here for about 10 seconds to let him hold it. All right, sit down. Okay, there's a low bar technique, and now what we're going to do, we've shown you mid, we've shown you low bar, and the one that we start young athletes at when we're teaching them the clean is the high bar technique, which if they got really weak glute hams, and most young athletes will do that, we just start them at this position right here, okay? It's a little bit of flexion of the hip, but that's just fine for them. It doesn't put a lot of strain on their back when they get to this position. This position is more so for advanced athletes because you got to be able to hold your position right here and keep your back flat. So that's kind of what we want to do is start at the high bar technique, go to mid bar, which is just above the knee, and then go to low bar technique, which is a more advanced lift. And then all we do is teach the RDL from there is go to low bar and back up. Low bar and back up. Flat back, you want to see if they have the flat back, and then back up, okay? So in order to teach this, the first thing that we do is to make sure we always check their lower back, and we always check their positioning of their weight and where the bar is in proportion to their body. So what AJ was doing that is a mistake with young athletes is he'll push the bar out with his arms just to clear his knees. But if you push your butt back in the proper position, then the bar's going to naturally clear your knees. So that's what we got to teach. The bar's just hanging. So let's do a couple of RDLs, and then we'll progress to a power shrug. Nice flat back, good. Good, stand up. Now go to RDL, push that butt back. That's good, and then back up. You want to keep your knees at the same bend as you always have. Don't let them, when you get down here and you're feeling real tight, don't let them bend anymore, okay? Right there, and then back up. Okay, I always tell you, keep on, give me about 2 more. I always tell young athletes that one thing that you want to do is to make sure once you feel in the back of the hamstring, that's your cue to come back up, okay? That's the RDL or Romanian deadlift, okay? That creates the flexion of the hip that you want in power sports. It's the same thing with snatch.